Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. I'm getting ready to head out to the gym. It's nasty outside. It's raining real bad in California, so make sure you guys are all being safe. There's floods where I live, at least, so if the weather conditions are similar where you live, make sure you guys are being safe. And I want to make this video real quick regarding Adrien Broner. Oh man, you know, AB ain't beating him. And Adrian Granados, a tale of two Adrians. And this was just something that came up. A lot of people wanted me to talk about it. Not much to say, but you guys seen from the title, the fight has been moved from, I didn't even actually know it was happening at a catchweight of 142. I thought it was happening at 140, but the contracted weight was initially 142 pounds. And Broner got sick in camp and reached out to the Granados side and Granados' team and decided we need to alter the weight because with that mishap in camp, there's no way he's making 142 comfortably. So they moved the contest to the new contracted weight of 147. Now, I mean, it's not much to say. This is Granados spoke about it. He said it was kind of a deal or no deal. They said this is what the new deal is. So, you know what I mean? Take it or leave it. And Granados obliged. He's like, hell no, I'm not passing up this payday and I'm not passing up this opportunity. So, I mean, it's his prerogative to do that. Now, I mean, obviously for me, for my 2 cents, what it's worth, I wish it stayed at the original weight just because I'm a traditionalist in the sense of like, that's the agreed upon weight. So any kind of weird like hiccups or things that come up, then, you know what I mean, it's not going to be the best situation, you know what I mean, because they said 142 initially and things like that happen, you know what I mean. People get sick, some people are sick on the fight night and you still got to produce. You're not always going to have that luxury of being able to reach out and change something last minute, you know what I'm saying. So luckily for Broner's side, Granados is not an A side in this equation, but if Broner was fighting Pacquiao or something, the show must go on. So, you know what I mean, you might not be able to call Pacquiao and say, hey, I know we agreed about this, but let's make it at 150 now, you know what I mean? Especially if you're not the A side in the equation. So, being a traditionalist, I wish it stayed at the regular weight, but I mean, there's no use crying over spilt milk. This is what Granados has now agreed to, and you take it for what it's worth. I do, however, think it's still a good fight. Reason being, Broner hasn't looked exceptional at 147, right? Broner had a tough fight with Malignaggi. He lost the first half of that fight. A lot of those early rounds with Paulie's volume style. His Sean Porter catchweight, 144, I think it was. He lost 11 rounds and then knocked Sean Porter down, the only person to do that. So that was a great round for him, round 12. And Maidana, of course, Chino Maidana kind of thrashed him. He showed a lot of heart, but he convincingly lost that fight, right? Got knocked down twice. First pro knockdowns and first pro loss. So point being is it's still a good fight. Granados, whether it's at 142, 143, 144, still has the style. Another thing that makes me a little bit more comfortable with this situation is Granados is not a small dude. Like, he's not a tiny, it'd be one thing, like, I was more like the Vicente Escobedo or something like that. That's more of a fight where weight is probably going to play a bigger part because Broner did whatever he wanted. But you watch Escobedo versus Robert Guerrero, who was a top level guy at the divisions, and it was a tighter fight. Not saying Broner wouldn't have beat Escobedo, but his weight in that fight, missing weight and stuff like that last minute, I definitely think that served as an advantage to him. But Adrian Granados, they'll probably rehydrate to be around the same. Adrian Granados has like freakishly long arms, and most importantly, Granados has fought at welterweight before. I don't know what fight, it might have been Kermit Cintron, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know he's fought higher than 140, and I know he has the height to fight at a higher weight. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously, it's not the ideal situation because it wasn't the agreed upon weight. Some people are going to try to find a way to not give credit, but weight is weight. It's not like a situation. Like I said, if he was fighting a guy who was naturally tiny and didn't have the frame and had never fought at 147, didn't have the style that has given him problems, then that would be something. But this new weight may even make it harder for Broner. We don't really know. Because again, Broner's best performances in my book, his best performance to me is Antonio DeMarco. That's his most complete performance where I was just like, wow, You know what I mean? And I also, when I say best, he might have had more impressive knockouts like Jason Litzau or a guy like Eloy Perez, who was on coke the night he fought Broner, which was really weird. See, I know my boxing. But I was talking about considering all things considered, you know what I mean? Who DeMarco was, the fact that DeMarco knocked out John Molina in 1 round. He was a champion. Broner, I think, had just moved up to the weight class, and he destroyed Southpaw with good veteran experience, who also upset Jorge Linares in a tough fight. So that's, to me, his most complete performance. So this might even work as a disadvantage because you got this rugged, tough guy who, even Granados admits this. He says, now it just made it, now that it's at 147, it made it easier for both of us. Now we have to cut less. So, you know what I'm saying? Now you have a durable guy who's fought at welterweight and you're fighting him at a higher weight. So, truth be told, this might make it even harder. You know what I mean? Some people are already thinking Granados has what it takes to pull the upset. I don't know. I think he has a style that's giving Broner problems. That's what I do know. So, you know what I mean? That's another reason why it's not the end of the world for me, because like I said, at 142 or 147, Granados is still a definite threat. And I told you guys could think whatever you want. I know fighters, and fighting at home is a gift and a curse. It's a gift, like if you're doing good and everybody's right there, you post fight and get to hear you and chant and will you on. And like, I've been at the Omaha CenturyLink Theater twice to cover 2 Terrence Crawford fights. Electric, absolutely electric. I've never been to Cincinnati, but I imagine it's the same town. It's the same type of vibe for the hometown fighter. But the bad to it is sometimes you make mistakes, or like if you're behind, you do too much to overcompensate, things of that sort. You make mistakes, and maybe even, like, I think a mistake would be Broner needs to be careful in this fight. He's clearly, Granados to me is not a guy you can count out at any point. Amir Imam knocked him down, and it looked like it was going to be a spectacular Amir Imam performance, and it wasn't the case, and he ended up stopping and breaking down Amir Imam. So if you get this guy hurt, you got to make sure you're careful. You don't want to do that Pacquiao reckless stuff trying to please your hometown crowd. So 142, 147, 140, whatever the fuck, I see it being a tough fight for both guys. In addition to Granados not being a petite dude, you got to look at this. And the fact is, this is boxing. A lot of things happen like this. I'm not saying it's justified. It is what it is. I remember Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he's missed weight before. And at the scale, they're renegotiating. Andre Ward versus Edwin Rodriguez. I talked to Ward's team, and they were telling me that since Rodriguez missed weight, they renegotiated a weight. And the next day, he had to weigh in at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and he missed that renegotiated weight, and they still let the fight go on. So Ward had to fight a guy who was over 191 pounds on fight night because he missed the first weight. He missed the second renegotiated weight. Same thing, like I said, with Chavez Jr. He's missed weight, and then at the scale, they got to figure it out and decide if the fight's going to continue. Some situations, like David Lemieux. See, I know my shit. James De La Rosa, he was like, no, there's no money you could pay me. I'm not fighting that man Lemieux. Him missing weight. So if he don't make it in 2 hours, then the fight's canceled. And it sounds like Canelo versus Chavez Jr. is the same situation. They're charging him $1 million per pound, which is going to be ridiculous if he's significantly over. So that fight would possibly get canceled. I mean, I don't know, because it's such a big fight. They would probably try to make it work, but they have strict punishments and stuff like that. So things like this happen. Andre Wawowski, he failed a drug test, and now Deontay Wilder has to fight someone he didn't even train his whole camp for. He was bringing in guys to match a Polish fighter who fights a certain way, who's shorter. Now he has to train for Gerald Washington. So at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, last-minute things like this come up in boxing. And the other thing is, some people are saying, oh, but Broner, he was struggling to make weight, and he can't make the weight. So that's why he asked for this increased weight, because he can't. But listen to what they're saying. If that is in fact true, and you don't believe the sick story, you don't think he was sick, you think he's struggling, then like I said, that's not a good look for Broner. If you're struggling to make weight, even with the weight advantage, that means you're struggling. You know what I mean? And Granados is not the person you don't want to have a good 100% camp, or as close to 100% as possible. So either way, I look at it, it's things like this happen. And if what some people are saying is like, oh, Broner, he was really struggling to make weight, then that's not a good sign, because you want to make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted and your training camps and everything's lining up. Let me know what you guys think. That is the latest. 142 is now 147. Take it for what it's worth. Let me know your comments. Drop it in the comments section. Make sure you share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.